Hello, hello. Hi everyone, Mike here. People are joining. I'm pretty sure my mic works. If someone can just type in the webinar, yes, in the channel rather. Cheers, Graham. Hope you're well, mate. I've got 15 people here. What's the chat? Yeah, thank you. I'll wait literally a couple of minutes just to see what. I know there's a fair few people that won't be joining. They'll just be looking at the video, which isn't a problem. Some are flying. Cheers, Gareth. Some are flying in, some are busy, some have got work, and so on. So it will be. That's not a problem. I would have given you the video anyway because it would be quite difficult for any of you to try and remember any of this stuff, if I'm honest. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to try and not ramble and talk a load of crap. I'm going to keep it pretty pertinent to the subject that I want to discuss with you. By the way, thanks anyway for everyone that joined. Completely humbled and for wanting to hear what I'm going to say. Thank you very much. I hope you find it valuable information and useful, above all, very useful. It's not something that I think that you've probably come across. You may have had something similar, but maybe not in the way that I'm going to explain. So I'm pretty sure the majority of you may not have used this kind of approach play. Okay, so that's the good thing. Right, so I've got 17 people here. It's 10:02. I did say 10 o'clock start. So I'm going to crack on. Okay, so football data analysis, how to use the sheets and filter effectively. Now, I must admit, I've not long used these sheets, but the way in which I wanted to use them, it's not, I'm not showing you anything new here that I've just picked up or anything like that. It's something that I've done for quite a few years, if I'm honest. I asked Chris, listen, I want to have a look at your football sheets because I've been too absorbed with the horses and that type of thing. I just want to have a quick look, and I was actually quietly surprised as to the information, the output. I think the only downside, and it's not really a downside, it's unfair for me to say, is the fact that you can spin it on its head and say the plus side is that he started adding Betfair exchange odds last year. So obviously, if you're new to this, you'll be able to grow. If you do sign up, you'll be able to grow and use the sheets along with the Betfair exchange data that will be added on a daily basis. What I can say is that the odds that are on there at the moment are the average market odds, and I'll discuss that soon. So let's crack on. Okay, so why football bet data? So football bet data has an excellent customer service that is established and is constantly evolving. That's undeniably true. Chris and his team and his devs have worked tirelessly in the past, especially with the racing side of things to improve the site. It was probably, how long now? Maybe, is it almost maybe 2 years or something like that? I can't remember. I think it's almost, about 2 years where I actually started talking with him over Twitter DMs. And after an exchange and me approaching him, saying to him, listen, you're missing the trick a little bit with the racing data. You might want to add some of this information because I think it will prove quite valuable. And there was a whole load of columns that were added as a result of me getting involved with that. And I think that's helped quite a lot of people. The sheets introduced the Betfair odds last season, and as I was saying before, it's good timing if you're just joining because you'll be able to grow with that. And I'm going to explain why that's not the be-all end-all, by the way, okay, regarding the Betfair odds shortly. The summary on the data dashboard outlines profitable angles. So at the bottom, if you was to pick one league and some sort of parameters, pricing, etc., it'll give you, you know, some angles at the bottom. But it's not just the under and over markets or the match odds. You know, you've got the draw no bet and the double chance markets, which if you're BD-eyed enough, you will notice some decent gains there. A lot of people forget the I don't like to use the word value, but the prices at which you can get some of those double chance markets, they're pretty low. So I'm hoping to have an example later on, actually, because I've got quite a few to go through where I might be able to touch on that. Make sure I remember. Right, so what's the story? What's it all about? Okay, so what I will say, I think we all share a common goal here. We all embarked on this journey into sports betting, or via a friend or via match betting. You either kind of like got chucked out by and restricted by all the bookies, or you just got bored of the match betting, and just, you know, the Betfair aspect side of things might have tweaked your curiosity. And probably for a bit of extra cash, not just for the fun of it or for the gamble. Okay, so football is generally our favourite sport, and we all consider ourselves an expert, of course, a football manager. So, of course, we all think we're going to be 100% right, and we can predict a score and a result. And it's funny, when you zoom out and think about it for a second, there's only 3 results. Yeah. And people struggle to get 2 out of the 3 right, which is ironic. So, you know, you would think that as a newbie into it, how can I possibly lose? How can I possibly not get anything right? Okay, so the use of data via free channels or paid subscriptions can provide us with all the analytical data we need to succeed. So why are you here? Well, some of you are here because maybe you're not progressing as a profitable bettor. Some of you might be just but are looking for new angles. Some may be because your edge is gone. Some because you really don't know what's going on, or completely new to this type of data fishing. Yeah. Now, is there a better way that I'm going to? Okay. So is there a better way? And am I about to disclose to you the holy grail of sports betting? No, it's not as simple as that. Okay. It's not going to be, you need to put some work in this as well, not too much, and you'll see shortly. But there is another way of perhaps combining the two, that is data and using algorithms, which of course aren't ours. And I'm going to expand on that. Okay, so I do believe there's an angle here. Well, not I believe, I know there's an angle here for a fact. It's just how you utilize it, and it's not a one-size-fit-all approach either to every league, which I'll embark on shortly. Okay, so bookmakers and algorithms. You're probably wondering what is he talking about? What's an algorithm? What is... Now, if you've ever seen any kind of trading program or read anything online, and you've heard about how stock market or blue chip companies, they hire, or hedge funds rather, they hire quantitative analysts, and they and high tech IT individuals to come up with a high speed frequency method algorithm of trading. Yeah, and getting in there first, fast, and so on, and being obviously the most efficient and profitable. Now, when I'm referring to an algorithm, I'm referring to a puzzle that the bookmakers use. And what they do, obviously, they hire and spend a vast amount of money on software and individuals to forecast odds, results, etc. It's a complex process, so it's not really easy. Yeah, a lot of things are obviously calculated and analyzed and put into this. So, you know, it's not as easy as just saying, what do we think of that? Oh, let's just put them on at 2-to-1 or 1-to-2, etc. You know, it's and I'm not sure if you've ever noticed, but the opening lines that when Betfair first opens, especially, or even the market, the bookies odds, they're probably or normally as close to true odds than they are by kickoff. Now, why is that? You might be asking. Well, they've put it out there, and what they do, right or wrong, yeah. Some people might believe that it is sometimes manipulated, but right or wrong, what they tend to do is they wait for the market to then move it. Okay. Now, is it the market that's moving it, or is it them? Arguably, I would say it's them. And what that does, they'll move it to a certain point whereby people find it attractive and manipulate the punter to take maybe the wrong odds, and then they will once the punter or once the market's moved in a certain direction, they will then perhaps send it the other way and achieve their part of they could either profit from that pre-KO or just before the closing line. Have you ever noticed how odds are quite similar? So, for example, if you was to open up, I don't know, Flash Scores or Sofa Score or something, and or Bet365, William Hills, and you notice, let's say, I don't know, Championship, Premiership, you'll see a favorite, home favorite. There might be 1.6, 1.61, 6.3, 1.8, 1.9, and so on. Yeah, so you'll get quite a few teams with the same odds, but obviously in different leagues. Yeah. Have you ever noticed how a team attracts similar odds away or at home versus a particular team? That's quite so. So I don't know. I'll give you Arsenal. So maybe not last season. Things change, obviously, but the seasons before that, you'd get Arsenal at, let's say, playing against the top 4 side. They'd be at 3 odds. Prior to that, they would have been anything over evens. You probably wouldn't have seen Arsenal win, and so on. Yeah. Now, these odds are based on algorithms, as I was saying before, that are carefully calculated to manipulate us, the punter. Okay. So it's never as simple or as straightforward as you think, right? Or else the favorite and the underdog would win and lose respectively. Correct? So that's what we're trying to, and that's what I'm trying to show you of how to exploit. Now, patterns, rinse and repeat. So when I started football betting, if you want to call it trading, you can call it trading, but let's just not be in denial. We're all betting on an outcome. Whether you take some profits because you want to kind of like cash out, if you want to call that trading, then that's entirely up to you. The only thing I'll ever refer to trading is financials. Yeah, those markets, commodities, currency, that's trading. Sports is betting. Okay, whether you cash out or not, it's betting, because it's something that isn't inevitable, let's just say, and you're betting on a directional move or the result, or a team scoring a goal, or a wicket being taken for the market to react, and then for you to cash out. Now, some people might expect or anticipate that happening. Some people go by stats, and then they might be in a losing position, and then a wicket goes, and then all of a sudden they're in some profit, and then they'll take their money. Was that trading? What if it didn't go the other way? Was that a losing trade, or was that a losing trading activity? And that was a lost bet. So that's the way I look at it. Okay, whether anyone wants to say, well, I'm a trader, I'm not a bettor, that's a load of rubbish. So wherever there's a market, there's a pattern. This is what you have to understand. This is what changed my mindset, if you like, and that's the word. I'm not going to go deep on psychology and waste your time. You didn't sign up for a psychology degree or a lesson. What I will say is, in all trading or betting, anything that involves money, there are patterns. Okay, there are. If there weren't, it would be. You might not like this because some will disagree. There'll be completely random results. Yeah. Now I know, there's people like what's his name, James Bogdall and all that kind of thing. They'll talk about, betting is a random, blah blah blah. Yeah, in theory it is random outcomes and all of that. I'm kind of like going more into the pattern side of things and trying to articulate how a bookmaker will attract us to bet on a particular outcome, but the facts show that that outcome tends not to come true. Okay. And I started thinking about this, as it happens, after I read, like everyone else has now in the world, a Mark Douglas book. And I took a little bit of time off quite a few years ago now and read the book, and something switched in my head, and that's when I started looking at all sorts of patterns, whether it be animal behavior, human behavior, and so on. For example, goal patterns. A team that scores first may continue and may not lose. Okay, Arsenal certainly did that quite a lot in this last season. Horses at a particular way or at a particular track, that's a pattern. Yeah. Dogs at a particular track from a particular stall, and so on. These are all patterns. They're not coincidences. Okay. Now, if you couple that with the odds that are on offer, then that definitely that empowers that statistic, and then when you look at the results historically, you kind of like think, oh right, okay, so the analysts have looked at this, they've looked at all this information, and they've priced it accordingly. I'll give you an example. Dogs. A horse at, let's say, Towster, shit track, stall 4, at odds of 2.3. Now, I don't know the answer, but you can find out. At stall 4, Towster, over 400, 500 meters, whatever, has a dog won at 2.3. And let's just assume or guess that, yes, they've won, let's say, 6 out of 8 times. Now, that same dog is running again from the same stall, but he's no longer at that favorite kind of 2.3. He's at 4, 5, 6. See, why is he priced like that? Maybe he's not going to win, and the bookies priced it like that on purpose. So might even be a joint favorite or a joint second favorite. And so you're still enticed to think, oh, well, that dog does well from stall 4. He often wins. Yeah, but the price is different. So it's not a coincidence. Okay. The other thing, when I go back to football now, the other thing I wanted to say is they do throw a curveball and they don't make it too obvious, because you might think, well, if that's the case, every team that's priced at 1.6, for example, and if they win if they win there, they're going to win everywhere. That's easy. That's just stupid. Well, no, actually, because they disguise it. And what they do is you sometimes have to split the seasons in two. So you'll have the first part of the season up to Christmas, for example, for the winter leagues. And then you've got the second half of the season where they adjust the odds and they might change things. So you have to look historically at the dates and change those patterns. Now, sometimes it might be applicable for the full-time markets, home, draw and win, away win rather, at half-time markets and the goal markets. It can impact the goal markets as well. So you may have, at that odds, you may have more teams going achieving over 2.5, or some maybe achieving under 2.5, and so on. Okay, it's pretty much everything. So everything they offer And I must admit, though, there will be some caveats there. There'll be some markets that don't pay too much attention to because they're not that popular. You might find something that's mispriced, so it's always worth looking, which is quite interesting. There was a football match in China today, and it was quite weird. It was 1-1 at half time, and this is on Betfair pricing, by the way, over 2.5 market was quite low, like you'd expect. Yeah, it was like 1.48. But the difference between the 2.5 and just another goal, 3.5, was stupid. It was like it was over 3, well over 3. It was quite a big difference, I felt, in my opinion. And it finished 1-4. Anyway, there was quite a big discrepancy there. Yeah, sometimes it's always worth looking at additional markets, because they may get something, or they may lose focus. And I'm mentioning that match not because Betfair gets it wrong. I'm just saying some of the other markets, always worth looking at the bookmakers maybe, or some other market. Actually, even Betfair, sometimes you'll find some extraordinary prices on Betfair as well. Now, excuse me. All right, so YouTube and Twitter has programmed us to view the market as pretty much one-dimensional, and that's just really on a stat-based method or approach. So you subscribe to let's say Gold Profits for football, which is the first place I ever subscribed to, and that's where I had my first, literally the first place I ever subscribed to, and that's where the username Bigman came from. And you'll pay your £30 a month, or whatever it is, £35 a month sub, and you'll be led to believe that you finally arrived. You've got everything you need here to succeed. You follow it all, you study, and you still lose. Now, this is the one thing I couldn't comprehend. Up some days, down some days, up some days, down. It's really quite something. Now, the one thing I tell people that join my private group, my mentorship program, is that they will always struggle to adapt at first, because their brain will need what I call rewiring. That's because of the point I just made before about the approach being one-dimensional. You have to look at stats. You need to get this software. You need to look at this chart. This horse goes up. That one goes down. This team will win. Tennis, when they go, there's so many points up. My bloody mystique tennis will tell you what's going to happen. Listen, some of that software is fantastic. I'm not putting any of that down. What I don't like is the information that's out there. I don't like some of the sub groups that sell data, because I just think you can pretty much get it all for free or next to nothing anyway. And I think you can use something like what I'm about to show you a little bit more as confluence. So basically using that as another way of confirming it, potentially confirmation bias, maybe. But when you see, I personally don't use that much data, if I'm honest, in my day-to-day betting. Obviously I can't disclose what I do, but I spent a long time using data. Spent hours in front of the screen, went full-time the lot. If you think going full-time as a professional bettor is something that you think is fun, it's you'll be really disappointed to find out it really isn't. You think that you've got to spend hours in front of a screen looking at data, and really you don't. You really don't. But I'm digressing somewhat, so I'm going to carry on. All right, some useful resources. Okay, some free sites that will provide you with prices. My favorite is oddsportal.com. You can create yourself a free login there. you'll find most of the sports and historical pricing from most bookmakers. I'm going to show you that in a minute, including their opening line to closing. SofaScore, most of you should know about this, is decent for an overview of the team and odds. There's also a decent stat, which I think goes largely unnoticed, and this is the price of the odds and the percentage win at those odds historically, which I like a lot. Paid for subs, there's a lot. Now, excuse me, I've only ever used one, and that's because I've no idea how to cancel it, and that's true. I must have applied or subscribed rather using a card, and it's just ongoing, and I've tried to find the DD to cancel it. But it's great for people like myself who's a bit of a sap and likes colors and visuals for effect. Now I'm going to just transfer this over here to show you odds portal. Right, a minute, that's better. Here we go. This is odds portal here. Okay, and you can see all the different sports here. Now, if I go into football, and if I go into today's matches, and we let's just say tomorrow's matches, which haven't started yet. This one will be tonight, midnight. It's just Brazil D, Ecuador. Let me just UK odds. Let me change to EU. That's better. Okay, so if I look at, where are we, Mike? Let's look at this one here, the Mexican one, and you will see right, there we go. Right, so then you'll see the home draw away, overs and unders, yeah, and all the Asian handicap, both teams to score, double chance, and there's a shed load more, all of here, yeah, from different bookmakers, so you can compare. Now, when you can see all the different bookmakers here, you can see them whether they're dropping or going up. Okay, useful if you're into your match betting or you want to try and scalp. I mean, I don't know if you know, complete bullshit. If you're into pennies, if you've got thousands upon thousands, and yeah, brilliant, but otherwise completely pointless. And here's your average, 3.6 out of all of that. Now, football bet data uses average odds. Okay, I'm not sure. I have to ask him. I'm not sure where he gets his average odds. They're not that far off Bet365's. Okay, but I'm happy to take the average. Okay. And then you'll have the betting exchange. Sometimes you'll see Betfair here as well. Okay, you can see you've got odds alert and all this kind of stuff here as well. So I find this quite useful. Now, I said about the opening and closing line. Now, if I go with Bet365, when they open this market up for this particular match, you can see the date that it opened at and what the price was, 3.6. You can see the arrow, it's gone up. We went to 375 yesterday, and this, well, yesterday morning, and now at 6:34, it's 3.8. Okay, opening odds were 19th of June at 3.5. So if you're looking at that, if you went over to Betfair, for example, you'll probably see, you know, how that moved in the market as well, because in theory, it should have moved in the same manner. The markets tend to follow Betfair. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're delayed. Right. Now, where am I? Let me just quickly show you SofaScore, right, and explain to you what I was talking about before. So if I go into this one here, it's just finished now, this match. Actually, I'm going to go into one that's live already. So let me just find, go up, let me press the live button. Let's go into this one. I think it's too late. Oh, here we go. Right, so we've got Spain versus Switzerland. Yeah, it finished 1-1 full time, extra time. Now, if I go down here on this bit here where it says details, it shows me here that when Spain are priced 1.5, there's obviously from a probability standpoint, if you convert the odds into, there's a 71% chance of them winning based on those odds. But actually, when they are priced at that odds, Spain win 89% of the time. Okay, so that's quite a nice little metric to have just to see. Yeah, it's not gospel, it's not guaranteed, but it's nice to look at. Okay, now the good thing about that is Spain actually took the lead on 68. And you probably, hopefully, would have traded out before the 90 plus 1 minute equalizer. Okay, so it's quite a nice, strong metric to use. Had you waited and you only stumbled across this at half time, you might really think, well, 1 minute, if they were priced at 1.4 and all of a sudden I'm finding them on Betfair at evens, that's actually pretty decent value. And when you take into account that at that price, they win at 89% of the time, that's when you find yourself, well, that's actually quite a decent edge there. And if I was to carry on doing this type of betting, where a team is priced at that team is priced at that kind of odds, and with the historic pattern of almost 9 out of 10 times winning, then fantastic. And finally, goal profits. So goal profits. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Goal profits. Footy stats. Yeah, I pay about. I think they've put it up now. It used to be $9.99 a month. I think it might be a little bit more. Now I've got it here on the live mode. If I put it on by match league, it's got all the leagues. These are the form colours of, and that's basically last 5, last 6, last 10, and so on. And then you've got you can develop all sorts of strategy, back tests, etc. Okay, so that's just something that, you know, I don't really refer to it all the time, but sometimes, very rarely, I might have a quick look because I want to see if maybe a particular team is likely to come back at a certain minute, maybe. And it gives me a bit of confluence with something that I've seen that might potentially happen in the market. Okay, so let me just get these screens out of the way. Okay, right, so that one's gone. Okay, so what's next? Okay, so before we move to the practical, okay, so do not underestimate staking strategy. This will kill you, not the method. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that, you know, you can follow any kind of system, and you might even only have a 50% strike rate. And let's say your odds, just say your odds are near enough evens. If your staking is wrong, you won't even break even. The reason I say that is on some days your mindset or your confidence, your pseudo confidence, will say, I've lost the last 2 and this is a dead cert and I'm gonna bet 20 quid this time, whereas I was only doing 5 for the last 10 and I've lost the last 6, but now I'm gonna fuck it, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do 10 quid because I'm sure this team's gonna win, and they lose. And then slowly you start going full tilt and you're finished. And yeah, so that it was more that if you stuck to your 5 quid, for example, or whatever, your 2 quid or your bank percentage, if you're running a system, and that's not even if it's not a system, if it's just if it's just your daily bank that you use, just make sure that if you're participating in racing, whatever it is, dogs, etc., you use the same kind of staking pattern or liability. So you can use the same stake, but if you're laying and your liability, if you're laying a dog at 5, and then you can't lay the dog at 5, and lay a dog lay a dog at 5 odds and lay a dog at 2 odds with the same stake. That's just stupid. Yeah. Understand your edge, your angle, and experiment with staking. Okay, so first of all, what I'm trying to say here is you need to recognize what you're going to be doing and putting into a strategy, understanding it very well, understanding your exit, your entry, or whether you're just leaving it to run. Yeah, so you know what you're expecting as a long-term set of results. And the staking is, well, you need to understand, well, you know, what your sequence is, your win-lose sequence, what your are you going to go bust, and all that type of thing. And understand how you're going to stake. Are you level staking, and so on. Now, the next one is level stakes or ratcheting. So ratcheting is increasing. As your bank grows, you start to increase very slightly. So if you're using 1% of your bank, for example, I've never done that, but if you use 1% of your bank, then you might, after your bank's increased by 50%, you might increase it to instead of 1.5, you might go to, and you're using £5, for example, as 1%, you might increase it to £6.50. All right, and slowly do that and try and work out, and your bank will grow exponentially as a result, providing your system's good or your edge is decent. Always zoom out of the picture and connect the dots, right? So, and you'll discover a lot more about this subject. So don't just be polarized and looking at one angle, one approach. Just kind of like zoom out, look at other markets, you know, look at how the market works. Yeah, and which is pretty much what you're doing today and why you're here. Commitment. Yeah. So you need to commit time. You will succeed if you commit time, but information paralysis is real. So what I said to you before, full-time trading is bullshit. Sitting in front of a screen all day is bullshit. You just do your head in, and in the end, you just get sick, mentally sick. Trust me, I'm talking from experience. It's probably the worst thing you can do. Spend hours and hours studying data. I mean, I do it for my group, yeah, and I relay it onto them and allow them to digest it, just like I'm relaying information to you. Right, mental health and life. Now, this is really serious. I'm, you know, I don't mince my words here, and I'm really serious. If you're someone who suffers with certain life challenges, please seek help. Please talk to someone. Yeah, betting it can really aggravate your mental health, and a minor setback or a loss in results will impact you severely. And I really do mean that. You know, people do go full tilt and they'll keep on reloading. I suppose the Betfair white paper is actually a good thing for those, because they'll be banned and stopped or prevented from betting again in most places. It might be harsh, and how dare they tell us what to do with their money, and I agree with all of that 100%, but there are some people maybe that need to take that break. Okay, I don't agree with the white paper for its worth, but if someone doesn't want to get that help, and it's not just, you know, just someone that's suffering from, I don't know, a form of depression or any other mental illness, but even if you've got a nagging wife or a partner or kids that are in your way, and you find yourself frustrated that you can't commit time to learn something, whether it be this or anything else, it can just impact you. Okay. Right, the Excel demo. So first of all, don't fret, don't worry about this part. I've got fat fingers. I just know how to use filters. Now, the difference is, I know the angle that I'm going in at. So I know what I have to do, what I got. Now, if I was some sort of coding Python expert, I could, or if I was even remotely better at Excel, I can create pivot tables and so on. Maybe you're that person. Fantastic. If you can do that, it will make things a lot easier maybe for yourself. But really, from my point of view, it might take a little bit more time for yourselves. But whilst you're taking that time, you'll be learning things anyway along the way whilst you're filtering and looking at things. You're going to receive the video, as I kept on telling everyone, but some people just couldn't understand it and kept on asking me. So you're going to watch it over and over. Feel free to contact me if you're unsure via Telegram in private. Do not discuss in the chat room on the channel that you're members of, the free channel. Do not discuss on Twitter. Do not post anything stupid on Twitter or anything like that. Okay, just ask me direct, please. Yeah, if you're not sure about something. We're going to be together for another hour and 20 probably. Okay, time goes fast. I mean, it's 40 minutes gone already. Okay, so take a quick break and be back in 10 minutes. Okay, or so. All right, I'm going to shoot off to the loo quickly, and I'll be back in a bit. All right, cheers. Right, I'm back. Don't know if anyone else is. Does anyone want to ask me any questions up to what I've said so far, just to clarify anything? Okay, cheers, Graham. So yeah, it was 40 minutes of me just talking about some basic stuff, preparing you for what, but I thought it was important for me to add those things in. It's just some things that are quite close to me and that I want to pass on to others, maybe to learn from, or they might be experiencing the same, and what to do about it if that's the case. So before I move on, right, that is the last slide. Now let's just have a look. Right, so this is the home page. Let me just sign in, because it's got an annoying thing about signing you out all the time. So there's these different things, like today's data download, for example. You can download today's if you like. Have a look at this one. It will come up like this, and you'll see the teams that are on offer today and at what odds. Okay, and you can filter them accordingly. Now you just go over the cross, of course, data, filter, and then you can just add. Sorry, beg your pardon. Just filter accordingly. This will make sense a little bit more later on. I believe, yeah, this is all the historic stuff. These are the dates and whatnot. Today's match. So, for example, this team here, this is its current form, Bromma. This is who they're playing, AEK. And this is AEK's form here, pretty shit. They haven't won a game recently. They used to be quite solid, as it happens. And I don't think, sure if Bromma's done that well either. And then you've got these two teams as well here. And the prediction part, you can have a look at that. I mean, it's not something that's that I would expect you to use, but football bet data, they had this kind of score prediction, and they added it in, and the members voted to keep it, so they've kept it. So they have a column here with the prediction home odds, prediction draw odds, and so on. Moth. Okay, so I mean, I don't particularly use this for my analysis at this moment in time, but you will come to use it later. Now, to show you what I'm doing, I actually go into the data dashboard, and let's just have a look. Just trying to find. Right, so if I want to, I can uncheck and check all the leagues they've got to offer. Okay, or I will potentially pick one league. So this is Brazil First Division. So let's just say that I pick them, and within that, here you got the bet. You can just choose for the Betfair Exchange odds range, which will only be since last year, so you're not going to get much of a sample size. Or you can go into the average, and it will bring up the Betfair anyway. If you do this, it will only bring up the Betfair. So you're better off just doing this anyway, because you'll get more games. And obviously, being a summer league, you can get it all the years back. Now, why is it pointless to go all the way back there? Because it's not really worth looking back to, I would say, more than 5 years, and even that's a stretch. Okay. but if I was to say 5 years, you can have a look. You'll probably find that the odds that the bookmakers used 5 years ago is no longer current now. Okay, and they start to just slightly change it. Maybe it didn't work, maybe they weren't profiting so much, they move it slightly. So I'm going to put just for the last 5 years, and the angle that I want to look at is I want to look at the teams in Brazil that have got home odds of 1.6, 1.6, and a maximum of 1.9. And I want the away odds team to be minimum 3 and a maximum of, let's say, 6. Actually say 7. Okay. Now I can add other things in here, which might make a difference to my sample size. Okay, so I'm not going to right now, but I'm just going to submit this now. Okay, so I've left the drawer out on purpose for now. Let's see what the results are. So it's brought me 568 results here. Okay, going back, spanning the last 5 years. Now, if I go down here to the summary that I was talking about, this is the summary. I can look at the, I'm not going to expect to find any angle using the bookmakers, right? So I'm going to compare it to, and obviously with, well, I will, but not overall. I'll have to filter it a little bit. The Betfair Exchange summary, if you've got a bigger sample size, which you haven't because they only started collating the data last year, you can see that straight away there's 14 points to be gained on the away teams. So you're better off basically back. It's actually quite a lot, isn't there? Look, only 9 home wins in the last year compared to 6 away at those kind of odds. Okay, so that's a good return. And if we look at the overs are quite well, not fantastic, but on the overs 2.5, but they're in profit nevertheless. If we look at the unders, you'll see that laying the unders might give you a better return, okay, albeit better yield, okay. And then if you go down, you can see the double chance using bookmakers and Betfair, and you can see the difference here as well. So what's good here is this is actually quite interesting to look at. The home and draw odds on a favourite priced at 1.6 to 1.8 would be quite low. Okay, so obviously laying that would be quite profitable in theory because there'll be quite low odds, especially. But obviously, you know, we've got the draw in there, but nevertheless, the return would be quite decent because they're low odds. Now, what I'm going to do here is this is nothing what I've shown you so far. It's what I'm about to do now. So I'm going to send it to, I'm going to press this, export to Excel. This is the scary bit for some of you. It really isn't. Oh, right. There we go. Oh, it's Belgium, not Brazil. For God's sake, that's why I was getting confused. Sorry, it's Belgium, first division. Right, so it said Brazil, like an idiot. Right, and it's a winter league anyway. Beg your pardon. Sorry. Right, so here's our Belgium league. Now, okay, so we've got it all here. It looks like a bunch of random results. There's one thing that annoys me a little bit here. It's having these columns with predicted home odds and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide these just to make it easier for you guys to focus on what I'm showing you. And the reason I'm doing this from scratch, because I don't want to just magically show you something without showing you the process from the beginning. Okay. Correct score odds. I mean, no. Let's hide those. Predicted overs and unders. We can just get rid of and predicted. Let's just get rid of these predicted columns, full stop. Average home odds, which is what we've asked for, 1.6 to 1.9. And then we've got the draw odds. We've got the Betfair exchange home odds next to it. This is for the, this is past year. And then we've got nothing next to it. This is obviously previous to that. But I'm just using the bookmakers pricing. That's all I care about, because you can see here, the average home odds is 1.76, but the Betfair is 1.81. And there'll always be a discrepancy because on the exchange, there's no overround. And you know, it would be slightly different anyway. And the price won't always be a plus or minus 4 or 5. You might actually get a plus or minus 10, 14 even. Like here, you got 165, and on the exchange, it's 179, and so on. Okay, so what I'm going to do here now is, this is where things will change a little. But before I do that, I'm just going to put it in alphabetical order. And I'm going to highlight this is me doing the color bit, yeah. I'm going to highlight the results because I like to see when I start sorting things what I'm looking at. So I'm going to give the away a light pink because I can. And there's one more there that got away. I'm going to give the draw an orange. And the home wins, these are the results, of course. The home wins, I'm going to give them a grey, a light grey. Okay, right, so that's that. Now, what I'm not going to do is start looking at some sort of pattern generically and whatever using this. What I'm going to do is this, watch. This is the bit that's a little bit different, which is what makes this video for you guys a little bit different. Okay. I'm going to create a coefficient of sorts. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to take the home odds, the average home odds, in a form. This is a simple formula, right? It's nothing special. Equals, that's how you start your formula, right? Q, which is the column here, and row 2, which is this one here. This 165 is Q2, right? And I want to divide it by the away odds, which is here. Look, W, average away odds, and that's in the, so column W, row 2. And if I press enter, it populates itself like so. So all of them now have got the home odds divided by the away odds. Now, why have I done that? It's given us this quite clever coefficient of how we can create a cluster. So what I'm trying to say is the home odds, for example, let me just show you this. Watch. Let me just pick number 25. Very slow. It's a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of things open. Here we go. Right. So just have a look at this for a second. Yeah. I've got 165. Actually, this is really sod's law. This is a really lame example, but 165, 6.5, 169, 6.65, 164. So there's nothing much in it here and here, but it's giving me the same coefficient. Now, if I let's just randomly pick 33 for some reason, I just fancy picking that one. Let's just have a look at that. Okay, now let's have a look at the, let me just filter these odds smallest to largest because there'll be a difference here. So they've all got the same coefficient. So when you divide that by that, it gives you 0.33, some decimal spaces, but rounds it up to 3 or gives you the. I've got 4.8 and 1.6, and then I've got 174, which there's a difference there, and 5.2, there's a difference, but it still falls under that coefficient. So I'm using that coefficient to basically have this data set as a cluster at this moment in time. So what am I going to do with this? Well, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to split the screen here. Let me just move over to bring that closer. Oh, you can already see it actually, but I want to bring it a little bit closer. Maybe I can have that option. Just freeze this and bring that there. Now, I'm clicked on number 0.33. Can anyone tell me what the angle is in this? Just saying. Does anyone notice any pattern here? What's the betting angle? Thank you, Graham. Lay the draw. So you find that coefficient, and that's, by the way, I don't want to finish the video, but that is it. That is it. However, there's a little bit more, but that is basically the gist of it. Using that coefficient, those bastards basically are tricking you into backing the home team. There's also another one. The other one is obviously, yeah, lay the draw full time, but I think backing the away team might be quite a good one as well. And then also there's a few results missing here, like the halftime results. There are a few blanks there, yeah. But it might be worth looking into the half times as well as the others around the back, the overs and so on. Now, what I'm going to do also, I'm going to add another column here. So we've added that to their data. That doesn't exist. And we're going to add here, let's insert a column for total goals. Yeah, let's just add E and F together. Simple formula. Actually, I'm gonna have to go back out of here. Let's just exit this. And then we'll add the equals E2 plus F2. So here we go. Equals E2 plus F2. Enter. You can see the two columns are highlighted there for those that are, and it brings you the total number of goals. So, and let me hide this column here. Right, so what's that done? We can see overs now, can't we? So now we can see the total goals, and then we can attribute maybe the cluster to the goals as well. So let me just go back to that 33, because we've got a lot of clusters here, and but I'm not saying you're going to use all of them. You might, out of all of this, you might only use a few. Okay, so what I can do is, before I go into 33, what I can do is this. I put them into smallest to largest. And what I'm going to also do, I'm going to hide these times columns. I don't need them for the purposes of this video. I don't care about the goal times. Okay, so we're done. Let's just get rid of these columns as well. So it makes it nice and compact, the screen. Home times, away times. Let's just get rid of that as well. Right, that's better. Okay. Right, so I've got the small coefficient here, and it gives me, by coloring that, I can straight away spot the low coefficient as it's rising. What am I seeing? Yeah, so 0.25, there's not many there. Small sample, 0.27, 0.28, and then from 0.29 it changes. 0.29, if you notice 0.29 here, we've got a lot of draws here. So you can say that 0.29, you would back the draw, or you'd lay the awaiting. Yeah, or because the odds are low, you'd not lay the awaiting, even though it would be a full house on that. You might want to lay the home team. Now, because there's, let's say, a few wins there, I wouldn't probably do that, even though it'll still be profitable. Backing or laying backing the draw and laying the awaiting would provide with the most profits. That's the 29 coefficient. Yeah. Now you can arguably say that up to maybe 31 potentially might be something to look at. But anyway, we carry on, and we can see there's quite a lot. Let's just highlight this. We're still on the 31 here. Right, there's a lot of aways here, a lot of away wins here. Where are we at? 32. 32 started here. So what I'm going to do now, but what I'm trying to say is this here will highlight a range, and you'll have to look and see whether or not that's a cluster. Now, when you've got a big sample like this, it's best to do it like that. So if I just go into, let me go into 32 for us, 32, 31. Let me go into 31 quickly. Right, so 31. Again, you've got quite a large draw here. Okay, not too many on the home, and you've got 2 away. I will go now, and I can one by one. I'm not going to check them all with you, but you get the gist. But I'm going to go through it with you one by one. You can have a look. I'm going to go back to that 33 in a moment. Let's have a look at 34. Okay, so 34's got a few away wins here as well. Okay. What you can do is once you've got the coefficient here, what you can do is you can further break it down into the average away odds. So you go, just filter it like so, smallest to largest, and then you can see if there's a potential range to miss out. So for example, would you back at, for example, would you back an away team at 5? Well, if you did, you'd get 1 right at least, okay? Or would you lay a home? And then here, for example, at this one here, the 484 to 477 inclusive, because you can't just stop and choose. So here you can say to yourself, okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 5 away wins, okay, versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home wins. So potentially I've backing the away again and laying the home would be the way to go there. Now if I go back to, so that's how you'd further do it. Now if you want to look at the home, you can filter it that way as well. So same coefficient, just filter it small to large, and you can look at the home. When a home team is priced at, let's have a look, 163 to 166, you've got quite a, again, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. So your coefficient of 0.34, and the range of home, excuse me, average home range of between 163 and 166, it's more likely to be an away win. Now, what's going on with the overs and unders with this? So we can see, let's just put this into perspective. So let's go small to large, because I can see quite a lot of numbers. I have got 10 games under 2.5, and I've got quite a few. I've got over 2.5 and higher. I've got 16. Let's have a look at the odds for these, because they'll be quite low, bearing in mind the home odds. So if I look at Betfair average, over 1 point, they're quite low. Okay, so it might be worth average under. So what you might want to do is what you can do is you can put this odds range of 1.6, for example, that range we just looked at. Where are we? Let's just go into this one again. Oh, not this one. God's sake, this one. Uh, 163 to 166, yeah. So I could go and 163 to 166 and 4.7 to 4.9. So what you can do, you can go back to this page and you can go Belgium 1.63, 1.63 to 1.66, and away 4.7 to 4.9. That's it. All right. And now I just press submit. In theory, there we go. Those are the teams there that we've got on our list. And if we go down without messing around, you can see your away win is 8.8 points. Okay, that's what's registered if you're using Betfair. 2 away wins out of 2 games that were registered with Betfair in those odds, 2 out of 2. So what we're saying is in the last year, when things moved to they started recording Betfair results, we've got results that preceded that from the average from the bookmakers, yeah, in the previous years. So we know that we've got more than 2 wins there. I think we had 5, something like that. Here, this year already, 2 qualified, and we had 2 out of 2 wins, which produced a 440% yield and 8.8 points net profit, which is great. Okay, and then you can go to the Betfair exchange on the overs, and you'll see that actually it's not too much. I did say the layover, so the unders. Okay, the unders here. There's not really much of an angle, nothing that I would scream out loud on here. Double chance or double chance again, you know, using the bookmakers odds over the previous years in that range. Draw away. I mean, you're not screaming, it's 1.8, but if you laid, you'd have a better marginally, you'd have better yield anyway, because none would have hit. Laying the double chance, drawing home, okay, because of the lower odds as well. And then draw no bet, so which is great because I do draw no bet being the same as the Asian handicap 0 line. So they win, you profit, they draw, you get, it's a push, you get your money back. And here is 9 points, and that's just using bookmakers, not Betfair. Okay, so that's really good, and you could always lay the home as well on the Asian handicap and profit like that. It's the same kind of, it'll be a similar return. Okay, but that's just using a really simple line. Let's just have a look. Where are we? Yeah, this is where we are. So that's what your coefficient is. Now, if I go to, so the way I do it is I like to look in 5s. So I'll go 0.25 to 29, then 30 to 34, 35 to 39, and so on. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm just going to have a look at what happens at the top here, because the higher the coefficient, it means the higher the home odds are. So watch that now go from 1.6 to higher. There's only one result, by the way, 1.84. So there wasn't much there, 1.84 and 3.3. So there's not much of a sample at all. They look to have abandoned that. Goodness me, that goes back to 2001. So that's a good example of one that's been abandoned. If I go back to 51, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 51, 52, 3, 4, 5, and let's get those higher odds home teams and see what happens. Right, let's just put these in order. Right, so we've got our coefficient in order, and that is fantastic. Look at that away win there from the 52 coefficient. Wow, 52. Yeah, there's a few home wins. The odds aren't great on the, obviously they've gone down the odds, but there are a few it's not that many. It's 2, 4, 6. Draw, draw, draw. And then if you look at the 51 again, let's just put it into a, let's just move this now into a cluster like so. And we can see that there's an outlier here, and that's the 170. So I'm going to, that's the higher coefficient. So that line I can delete. That's the only one that's 55. Is it 55? Believe so. Yeah. So that's an outlier, so I'll ignore that. But when I'm looking at, let's say, of 186 odds, Jesus, look at that. Fucking hell. Look at that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 away wins there. And there's a slight crossover with the coefficient, but they're next to each other, 51 and 52. So that's kind of like, that's why it's worth sometimes you doing it in stages of 5. So yeah, if you've got a lot, do it one by one, but then start, once you've recognized something, make a note of it, then start adding a few more, and then sort it out like a cluster. So it gives you this, okay? Because still in the 1 point, look at that, still in this same cluster of 51, watch, and 52, I've got another two, I've got, look, I stopped there, 86. If I go to 188, it's going to bring me 2 more away wins or a lay on the home at 51. But then it brings me these home wins as well. And then look at that, the coefficient 188, I've got 54 here. I could ignore that because of the coefficient and go up. But then do I want to reduce the noise and just concentrate on the 186 instead, for example? Probably yes. Yeah. So 51, 52 coefficient, 186 cluster, you know, and go with that. There's also the other one you can look at is, ignoring the top line again, is going from 185 to 189. And then you've got the lay the draw. Okay, so you'll have only 2 draws out of a potential 23. Okay, so 23 trades, 2 draws coming out of there at, let's say, 4 point, where are we? 2.8, 2.2, 3, 5 points. Something like, what's that? 21, take away 5, 17, 16 points maybe profit from that angle alone. Okay. So that's how you'd sort it. And then obviously you look at, you can then, if you find a pattern in the half time. Now this is not a good example. So this is, so if you'll have this now to look back on in the video, and you can see what I looked at and then how I went back and narrowed it down between this cluster as well. All right, so let me go and show you another example. Let me pull one over from the other screen that I've got ready for you. Right, so I'm going to show you now one I made earlier. Now, what did I do here that's different? So what I've done here, I'm going to get rid of the prediction columns. Like I just did before. Get rid of these times here. Anyone got any questions to ask while I'm sorting this out? Please just type. Okay, so what's this? Just so you know, I have got I've got 40. If you look at the bottom here, I've got 14,141 games on this sheet. What did I do? Sorry, there's some. Sorry, some. Just noticed the chat. I didn't check the Zoom chat. Sorry, I was talking about the web, our channel, the football webinar. Excuse me. Stephen, is the average home odds the closing odds? Yeah, good question. They're going to move slightly, okay, but you're going to see those move like I showed you on Odds Portal. The odds that I used here, I would say, are the odds that you're going to find when Football Bet Data posts them. So on that sheet that I showed you earlier, where you go on today's download, you would have seen that it's populated with some home odds. So I would use those. It's not the closing. You may find them shrinking, drifting, or going away. Sorry, steaming or drifting. For what it's worth, if you're going to win on some occasions and you're going to lose on others, and in the end, it balances out. Okay. Right. So what have I done here? I went into that data at the top here. I went into that data dashboard and I typed in 1.3 to 1.8 for the home odds, minimum 1.3, maximum 1.8, and away 3.9 to 15. But what I did, I added 0.25, the overs, from 1.5 to 1.9. The reason I did that is because when a team is that low in price as a favorite, there's an expectancy for over 2.5, and that price is going to be very, very low. Also, I did it to minimize the amount of games. there were 60,000 or more games, and it couldn't. So I added this filter to get this sample size, so I can show you today. Let's just change this color back to more sensible blue. That's the one, right? And this one here will go in black, so we can see it, coefficient, and let's just center everything as well. Lovely. Right, so what we've got here is the coefficient, which is, as you can see, the formula there. It's R2 column, home odds, R2 row, divided by the away average odds of X2, and it brings us this. Okay, so let me just have a look at some notes that I made earlier on this. It was quite interesting, I thought. Okay, so this was a good one that I noticed, just so I'm saving some time and not boring you to death. If anyone, I've seen a couple of people have left already. Got the video, no hard feelings. If you've got a life, unlike me, you can go. Coefficient. So I wrote down, and I didn't fully, I spent a few hours today and yesterday, whatever, but I've messed around with this one today. If I type in, or if I select rather 41 to 40, where is it? 41, is this the right one? Should be. Yeah. 41, 46. That's it there. Okay. Where are we? And if we just have a look at the results, just to get an overview of what's going on with this coefficient cluster, awful lot of away teams. And let's just, first of all, how many we've got. It should be the whole. We've got 1,740 games, or teams, rather. Now, what you want to do is sorry, when you get into this coefficient, sorry, let me start again quickly because I've just got a bit of mind block. Sorry, when you pick a coefficient, let me just leave this band that I have now. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you want to do is remember what I said at the beginning, at the start, saying that every league is different. So what you want to do is select a league, okay, and go league by league. Right, so let's just go for Argentina First Division. Right, and then what you have a look is that between 41 to 42, you can see if there's anything there that is of interest. Okay, you know, and that might be, as I was saying before, it might be in the overs, for example. There isn't a 0-0 there. It might be that it's in the half-time result as well. Okay, so for example, the half-time results here so far, the only team that won once, sorry, the home team only ever won once, for example. Okay, you know, so you might want to look at the laying the home team, for example, in that coefficient or cluster. If I was to just put that in smallest to largest, like so, and I can see 41, 44, 42, 44. That's too, like I say, it's too small a sample for me at this moment in time. Let me just get rid of the coefficient filter here for the Argentinian league for a second. That's in now order. Now what I can do here is look at the overview over the last more than 5 years. It's going back to, no, last 5 years. I've got 143 games. Yeah. And out of the 143 games, I have got 31 draws. Okay, so you might want to look at that angle. You might want to break that down into the coefficient. So if I look at the coefficient on that side of things, it's quite a wide range. So again, I might go back into the order here, and I can see that from the coefficient of 13, for example, up to 20, I can make a note of 41 games there, and in the 41 games I've got 7 draws. Yeah, and then I can look at the coefficient of 20 and so on. Okay, and you might want to be looking at that approach. There is one that's actually quite interesting here. You might want to look at laying the home draw here at this coefficient of 27 to 28. Beg your pardon, 29. That would be interesting. Or back in the draw, and so on. And that's how you do it. Now we can, that's looking at one league. Okay, and again, you can filter and you can use what's the angle on the let's just go with the teens. Let's select, like I was saying before, 13, 14. Let's just go for the teens up to 19. So that's a nice, you know, you can when you, and the good thing is when you break it up into the coefficients like this and just using a group of 4 or 5 at a time, you get a better overview of what's going on here. And then you can compare the goals there, quite a lot of goals there, and then the halftime results. And if I look at the halftime results, if I just filter that into alphabetical order, I can maybe look at the average odds. So the lower the coefficient, the lower the home odds and the higher the away odds. Okay, so bear that in mind. Okay, and if we look at the draw outcomes, you can see here that, is it worth laying the draw? You had 2 that ended up as a draw full time. Yeah, maybe there's an angle there. Is it worth when it's a draw back in the away team? Well, at those odds, definitely. Yeah, as well. And then if you look at this here, let me just put it in like this to polarize it somewhat, and you can get an idea. If you look at it like this, when the home team's leaving, don't fucking bother laying unless if they've equalized if the dogs equalize the home team in the second half, it's always worth laying that team or laying the draw then in the second half. You can see here that the away team, I don't think that really happened too many times, but maybe in another instance you'll get that. Or you might want to look at overs. So 2-0 went 3-0, 2-1 stayed 2-1, 1-0 stayed 1-0, and so on. The only time they equalised was this one here, Boca Juniors, and so on. Okay, so it's just something to look at rather than trying to just say, oh, it's a really low price, I'm going to lay them. Sometimes it's not worth doing it. Okay. If I look at, let me just get the cluster on the odds now. So if I look at the, there's no real odds cluster going on within that coefficient, but if I was to break it down to not 13, but if I take 13 out and 14 out and 19 out and 15 out, let me just leave these two, see what happens here. Got an odds cluster. It's quite tight as it happens. It's quite tight. So it's 7.77 to 816. Yeah. And so that's a sample of only the 8, and you would have had 3 wins in that coefficient of 18 and 17. So provided you got 18 and 17 coefficient and a cluster of 7.7 and 8.16 odds, you'll be looking at around about 6, just argument's sake, 7, 14, and where are we? 21. Let's just say 21 points gross minus obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around about 16, say 16 points gross. Okay, in that kind of cluster. And once you've done with that, you can just unclick here, clear the filter, and let's just move on from there. Let's just have a look at I'll tell you what to look at. The Premier League's really shit, if I'm honest. Germany won. Germany's good because there's loads of goals. There's another, oh, surprise, surprise. The coefficient here is quite low. It's quite low, so favourites out to there. So we can safely say, right, so if we ignore the 22 coefficient and the 25, because we can easily say that's an outlier, but if we can just ignore those for the time being, we can either, the home odds are very, very, very low. We've got a couple of draws in there as well. So what's the halftime market saying? Okay, don't know what I beg your pardon, it's not Germany, it's Greece, for fuck's sake. What's wrong with me today? It's D1 I need, not bloody G1. The Greece is actually quite interesting because it's pretty crap, pretty obvious. You'll find some angles there. Let me just go up to D1. Deutschland. That's better. Right, so let me just clear the filter from here because we'll have a lot more samples. Goodness me. Right. Let me put it in order. So you've got the favourites, very low favourites, as we said, because it's the lowest coefficient, okay, and the highest away odds. Okay, so I wouldn't be backing, obviously, any home team. Would I be backing an away team? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not, because the cluster, it's not worth it for me right now. So I'm going to look further down. And I've got this massive gap here, which I want to explore, and it's including 18 here. Right, so from 18 up to 24. So I'm going to do that. Watch. 18 to 24. And this will be the last one that I'm going to do on this particular odds range. Let me know if you want me to show you more, or if you get the gist, or if you've got any questions. So I don't want to bore you or make you feel like you're guilty being here. Right, so here we've got a scenario where, again, it's you can arguably you can lay the away team, okay, quite highish odds. Let's just say you'll come out with a profit, obviously, okay, but well, actually, no, you wouldn't because you got the draw as well. But no, of course not. No, of course it would. No, it'd be decent. But if you no, it wouldn't be bad. Even with the high odds, you mustn't be scared. But look, if I take away the 24, that's a little bit too much like backfitting in a way because I've got a lot of winners in the 24 as well. But there's no shame. I'm going to cut a lot of winners, but also I'm streamlining it because it's a coefficient. It's not like I'm taking everything that's priced at 7.9. There could be some there that are 8 or 8.4. So here you can see if I remove the 24, I've only got one winner away. Okay, so that'll be almost 7 points gross deducted from how many? From 33. Yeah. So that again, and if you look at the half-time results as well, is there an angle there and how many goals? So only 2 there away wins. I can't tell. I'm missing the information here, which is a bit annoying. But I've got quite a lot of draws, and out of those draws, is it worth laying the draw? Well, I've got quite a few draws that have come out of it. Is it worth laying a team that's leading at halftime? That's a home team? No, it's not. Unless someone's equalised, for example, and the home team then takes the lead, which I'm not sure how the sequence was with the bottom one, RB Leipzig and Hertha Berlin, whether they came back to 3-2 or whether Hertha Berlin, no, they didn't. They're winning 3-0 at half time and Berlin came back. Yeah, the max range, I said that earlier on, Graham. So the max range would be the last 4 to 5 seasons that I would be looking at, and then it constantly evolving from there, and keeping it like that. That's the way I would be doing it, if I'm honest. Well, that's the way you should do it. Now, so I'm going to move on to another sheet that I've got ready, and I will... done Belgium, which Belgium's quite interesting. Right, so the same sheet again, this big one. But what I did this time was in this sheet, I put in the data dashboard. Again, I've got how many? I've got only 112 samples in this one because I was quite specific. I put home team 2.7, can't be 2.7, 2.7, and away team the same. It would have been 2. Let me just have a look. 2. Must have been 2.4 to 2.7, and the away team was again 2.4 to 2.7. Okay, and the over 2.5, the minimum 2.1. And let me just hide these goal times quickly. I've put in the goals already. Now, what you'll find here is look at the coefficient. It's over 1. Quite interesting. Yeah. Let's have a look at that one. Looking at this one here. Here it is too. Yeah. Okay, right. So watch this. Let's just put this in the smallest to largest. Okay. And you're going to notice, let's go from 91, 94, and let's go to 99 and see what happens. Don't like that color. We change it to... Right. And these ones here, the draw was orange. I don't like it that color either. Right, so I've put in that coefficient just to see, just to check before I move on. And I'm looking at how many from, let's say, 98 coefficient haven't got. Am I better off back in the draw? Because the draw is nearer to 3, yeah? Because they're expecting. So the reason I picked that coefficient is when a team is more or less 1 or more, there's normally more of a chance that it's going to be a draw. Yeah, that's just in some leagues. This is fucking, what's this? Oh, yeah, this is a mixture of leagues here. Sorry. So there will be some leagues that will be, just have a look. Will be more responsive, for example, the English leagues or something like that. Again, I haven't got a great sample here. But if I moved away from this, and I'm just going to go straight to the 100s to 104, it's better. Okay, and let me just go into this here. Just change the color of the draw because it's doing my head in. Okay. I've got an angle here straight away of laying the home team overall. I've got an angle. I've got 20 out of, I believe I've got an angle 20 out of 49. Okay. Obviously the points there should be a little bit there, but if I was to narrow this down into you got the one, where are we? Let me just get this set to, that's better. Right, so if you're looking at the coefficient of, actually the coefficient of 1.0, basically. Let me just go slowly with this one because it's actually got quite a lot of info. So 1.0, it's showing me 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 wins only out of 31. Okay. And then if I'm looking at the goal markets, potentially a little bit actually, a little bit middle, half-time results. Goodness me. Away wouldn't, it's not bad. So basically, okay, that's actually pretty strong. So the home team leads at half time. You can look to perhaps potentially, if you get it at the right time, look to lay the home team. But if it's a draw at half time, you'll be you do well to potentially lay the draw or back the away team. And the away team leading seldom loses. Okay, half time. So again, you can look at trading angles and what to do or how to react accordingly if a goal comes in. That's just using this one coefficient. If I go further down to the 106, there isn't much there, although it's current 22. Draw and draw on that coefficient. So what does that mean? It means home team. Betfair, look at that pattern there. Betfair had them at 288, both of them. Average odds were very similar, 268, 267. Away odds on draw odds on Betfair were the same, and the Betfair Exchange away odds were slightly different. But our coefficient was giving us the go ahead. and we only need, and it's telling us that the draw in these particular matches. Mind you, that league there, it's not the same bloody league. It's a different league. This is a smaller sample size. So again, I can go back to I'll show you the Brazil. I don't think, no, I haven't. There's Brazil. I'll show you this one as well. Brazil here, predicted. Let's just hide that. Let's just show you again, starting from here. Insert a column. And I've got equals Q2. And what this one is, it's Brazil First Division, 1.6 the home team minimum. I think it was 1.6 to 1.8 or something like that. So equals, where are we? Average home time. Bear with me. Sorry about that. Average home times Q2 divided by average away odds W2. Okay, so let it populate. Let's just highlight that. This way. Hide. Okay, and put it in order. Actually, before I do that, let's just get the results highlighted quickly. Once again, in Brazil, at that kind of odds cluster for the home team, you will see that if the away team is leading at half time, the underdog, you do well to leave it alone. Okay. Now, if I go into smallest to largest, I can see this one here of 26. Let me go 26 to 33. Just check that quickly. Okay, you do well to lay the home team there, for example, with that coefficient. Okay, there's a lot of draw, or you do well to back the draw even. Okay, either one. I mean, backing the draw is best because you're looking at almost 3 points. Oh, that's the half-time result, beg your pardon, but still, you'd be looking at on the half-time, you'd be looking at backing the draw, maybe. Mind you, the draw won't be that high, if I'm honest, on the half-time. It'll only be, it's getting late, you can tell. It'll only be about 2.3 maybe actually because it's a favorite and an underdog, it might be a bit higher, but 2.4 maybe to 2.7, 2.6, something like that. The home team would be around about evens-ish, 2.2. Okay, so again, something like that might be worth looking at. You'd be looking at potentially 8. There's 8 selections there, so 8 and 2, 9, maybe 9 points. Hardly worth it. 9 point would be a marginal profit. Or however, on this side of things, on the full-time result, home will dominate. Again, a lot of this will fall down to whether or not you want to go into the lay the draw, or if you want to look at the draw no bet. The draw no bet would actually be quite low odds. We go to the back here. That's if they're recording it. Let's have a look. Draw no bet. It hasn't got the results, but you got it here. Draw no bet home. Okay, so yeah, you can see how low it will be there. Not really worth it for backing reasons. I clear that filter again, and arguably from that cluster there, just looking at that cluster from 24 to 30, I've got 4 away wins full time at those kind of odds. Yeah, so I've got potentially 20 plus points. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so you'll probably be around about 10 points on that cluster based on those dates, which are present really. Okay, so that's the Brazil 1.6 angle at home. And then you can, you've got the Swedish first division. I think I've got this down as bear with me. I've got all of the bloody. I had filtered it 71. Had filtered it earlier, but I think I'm going to stop it there. Has anyone got any questions? Because I've got there's loads. You can literally going back to that other big sheet, which is this one here. All you have to do on this one here, where you just have to get another one. All you need to do is, if I go into the data dashboard, it's probably logged me out. So sign out and sign back in, because I hate when it does that. It doesn't last long. So if I go into that there, where are we? Just want to compare something before I go, because I'm going to do it anyway. So if I check all of them, and if I go away odds 1.3 to excuse me, 1.8. Okay. Oh, that's the draw odds, beg your pardon. See, it's getting late. And I'm wearing some moody glasses which belong to my missus. Max 1.8. Sorry, can you hear me now? Oh, fuck's sake. I must have pressed the mute button. All right. Okay. At least it's still recording. That's the main thing because I thought it crashed for a minute. Okay. Thank God for that. So thank you. So what I was saying before was, um, I was only just showing you the opposite of the last big sheet, which was 1.3 to 1.8. You can do that in the away odds, and you can test how the away favorites work as well. Do the same thing there. You can choose whichever odds angles you want. You can make them as small and as condensed as you like. For example, you can put away odds of 4 point, what is it called? You just think you can go 5 to 8, for example. Or you can go home underdogs instead of away dogs, home underdogs of minimum 4.5 to 8 instead. And you can then filter the home leagues. And what I was just trying to tell you is you don't need to do the home odds. You can use an angle here, which is the goals over market. So you can go 1.17, 1.9, nice and tight. And then you've got the minimum unders, that. And then if I filter the last 5 seasons on the winter leagues and the summer leagues, just want to see what that brings me. So it brings me 401 results. Okay. But you'll notice that most of those are current. Yeah. Which is nice. Yeah. So if I just export that quickly, and I'm not going to take too much of your time, I told you I'll go over. I always do. Luke, just have a look over here quickly at the odds. Yeah, here we go. So the odds here, they're 1.7 minimum, 1.7 upwards. Okay. Now, if and the unders here, not, I'm going with the average, by the way. I'll go with the average unders. And if I go insert and go equals AL2 divided by, wouldn't expect too much of a difference, AN2. Let's just see what this brings. There you go. Right. So here's my coefficient in, let's get rid of the pink. Let's go yellow. And let's go smallest to largest. Now, what I want to do is split the screen here so I can bloody see what's going on with the goals. So I want to put in here the goals. So it makes it easier for us to see. Insert, right, quick, easy formula equals E2 plus F2. Brilliant. Right, so now what I want to do is get rid of that shit. I wish I could just select that. I wish I could just select that, honestly. Get rid of all the predicted bloody... Right. Now, what you can do on top of that is you can create a coefficient for, based on that, for the odds as well, by the way, yeah? And then you can see here, insert, edit, equals R2 divided by X, yeah, X2. There you go. So that's our coefficient in this column as well. All right. Now these ones here, I'm going to fuck off these ones because I only want to know about the going to hide these. Right. That makes it easier. Right. And these are the over. and these are the under. All right, let's get rid of the Betfair one. So they're nice and close. And then you can fish. Right. Okay, right. So let's, rather than messing about, let's just go with a coefficient of 80. Okay, there you go. There's 80. How many is that? I've got 90 selections. Okay, so let's have a look out of these 90 selections, just see if it's bullshit that I'm doing here. Out of these 90, out of these 90, I'll tell you what, that's not bad. Only 4 games out of the 90 had no goal. That's not bad at all, is it? That's 39 games that were under 2.5. And the vast majority, actually even over, okay, so 39 and 50 were over 2.5. And then basically you might want to look at your halftime results and all that, or your leagues. Yeah. So you might find that a league. Now, if we look at the let's just have a look for argument's sake, the coefficient on the, if it makes a difference. It's just a theory. So our coefficient on the over stays the same. Right now, if we look at the coefficient, in theory, the home favorite would be the lower ones. Yeah. So hello, 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 hello. You can hear me now, I think. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Okay, it's the cable. It was the way I've got it on the table. I fucked the cable up because it was at an angle. So now I'm actually holding the microphone near my mouth and got my fingers around the back of it, fucking bending it upwards. Shame. Okay, so all I did was change the coefficient, as you can see there, to higher coefficient on the average, on the beg your pardon, on the goals, and I also filtered on the on there, but I didn't see much of a difference. Result wise, let me just do it again. You just clear that. One thing I didn't do was do the it's important that line up. Why wasn't it lining up? All right, let me just center everything. Sorry. That's better. Okay. One thing I didn't do was the result. Did I get rid of result column? Prediction, get rid of, and result column. We'll just color them because it makes it a lot easier for me to see things. And thanks for bearing with me. You're all as sad as me. Congratulations, Saturday night. Got no mates like me. You're my mates. I tell my missus, I'm talking to my mates. Fuck off, leave me alone. Has you got no mates? I said, fuck off. Okay, now. Talk to people I've never met on Telegram more than I do her. For fuck's sake. Right. Okay, so now that we've done that, we'll clear that. Let's just get all the results on there. Right. Let's just color this column quickly in green. Right, okay. Now, coefficient wise, we've got all of them there. Let's do an experiment. So let's go smallest to largest on the coefficient. Now, because we didn't select an odds range in the teams, that's why we've got such a vast mix of very volatile high to low coefficients. Okay. Fucking hell. Well, that's interesting. All right, so favorites here. How many? They go under there. Let's have a look further down. So let me just have a look at this one here. 50 in the 50s. That's what I mean about spending a lot of time on data. This is quite interesting, though. I actually quite like doing this until I don't. Don't crash on me. Sunday morning in Oz. Good morning. Right, lay the draw candidate here for this one. And that's actually quite a nice one. Let's just see. So on the over 2.5 coefficient of 80, 81, and 82, if I'm not mistaken, let's just between a coefficient of 0.5 and 0.50, or let's just say 50 to 55, for God's sake. And let's just, so you can see the coefficient on the overs unders. Okay, 80 to 82. We have a nice lay the draw angle there on the full-time result. Yeah, the odds ain't bad, if I'm honest, either. Okay. Very nice. Now, what's the situation with the goals? Let's have a look at the goals. Do we have goals with it as well? Yes, we have. Goodness me, not bad at all. So we've got 13 overs 2.5. That's not bad. So that's actually a nice little micro system there. No particular bias. I actually quite like that. I like it because there's no bias on a league and it's quite a general one. So you've only got six results, one result with no goals, six including that one result under 2.5. The other 13 were over 2.5, and arguably you'd actually be you do well to do over 2.5 and over 3.5, 4.5 actually, because the odds would be pretty decent. It's the average home odds on almost evens. Also, sorry, just saying, but the home 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 19, give or take, say 19. So home plus over 2.5, maybe. Yeah. You've got 19 games here, near enough evens. On Betfair, there'll be about evens, near enough. Okay, and out of the 19, 2, 4, 6. So you had 13 home wins, 13 points, argument's sake. Not too bad. And then you've got the overs as well. And what's the half-time situation? So the situation is this: away team takes the lead, don't lay them. Yeah, that's actually quite a good angle. There we go. Let's just color that one in. Okay, if it's a draw at half time, then lay the draw, or back the home. Lay the draw will be simpler, I would have thought. And if it's home leading, don't bother laying the home team. Yeah, if anything, they're going to score more goals. Basically, they're going to score at least one more goal. Okay. So quite interesting there, quite an interesting one. And that's just using those. If I was to, it's good that you're getting the recording, because otherwise you won't remember this. If I was to clear this filter again, and just go with the under less than 0.24, okay, so arguably there'll be quite high odds, but it'll be profitable to lay the away team still. Yeah, as you can see. All right. No, maybe not actually. Goals. That's what I want to look at, the bloody goals. So if I now just organize the coefficient in the goals, just to see something. Right, and doing like that's quite a ball bust. Let me just go one by one quickly. 0.78. There's only 2 games. Don't know why I've done that. Over 2.5. They're the top 2. Okay, so 0.78 coefficient. It's quite a small sample. I'm not going to really talk about it too much, but if I was to say 0.79 and 0.78, you've got home team and over 2.5. The average home odds are like that, and you got home on double and on half time, full time. 7-9, not really a bit of an indifferent one. 7-9. 8-0 we've had a look at already, maybe, or no, we haven't actually. That was on the 5-0. Hurry up. Okay, another one, quite high odds. I don't like laying at those odds anyway, but quite high odds. Goal wise, only 2 games didn't go over 2.5. Half-time result. So 0-0 at half-time, 1 goal, home team, draw home, lay the draw half-time. Yeah, half-time draw, lay the draw basically, or back the home team. Okay. away's lead, and if the away's leading at half time, then lay the away team, because apparently they're not going to win. And that's be using a coefficient of under 2.4. So basically 0.12 up to 2.3 with a coefficient of 0.8. Boys, thank you very much. I'm going to call it a night because I could spend all night looking at examples. So I just showed you a way of using an over-unders coefficient along with that to see if you can maximize your goal potential along with results. Okay. There are various ways of doing it. You can expand the odds range, okay, and still have the same coefficient. Not really, but it depends. So, for example, don't make it 1.7, 1.9, make it 1.7 to 2, maybe, okay? But then you'll get more teams, more results, and then you can filter leagues. Or you can just do, excuse me, you can take the, where's that sheet? You can take this bloody sheet where I've got, how many bloody teams have I got in here? I've got, no, not this one. No, not this one. I've got a filter on this. Where is it? Just turn it off. It was the one I was looking at with 14,000 results, but it doesn't matter. Point what I'm trying to make is even with, can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me, yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah? Yeah, good, thanks. Thank you. All right, so with this one here, you can do the same thing with this one. Coefficient, which one was this here? This was 1.3 and 1.8, and away 3.9 to 15, with the overs 1.5 to 1.9. Filters on Germany, that's right. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Right, even better. And then you can go to the over-unders. Again, like we just did there. I'm like a fucking junkie, like a crackhead with this bloody day. I hate it. Can go on all bloody night. I'm going to do it. Fuck it. Right, let's do it. I'm going to do it very quickly. Equals AN, and where's the AL? Fuck's sake. Where is it? AL, no, average over, average under, AN and AP equals AN. Oh, fuck. I have to delete it first. Right. Equals AN2 divided by AP2. Why didn't it bloody populate, bastard? Right, now, right, now it's just going to Germany, because I like German league. It's got a shitload of goals, D1. Okay, coefficient there on the Betfair odds, and bollocks. Where is it? No, just do it. Oh, yeah, I didn't color it in. That's what I didn't do. Right. If I select, let's just select a cluster here of 6-4. Right, let's just see what this gives. Goals. Don't forget, it's the home is the favorite anyway, so you're not expecting too many. Not great. Coefficient on here isn't bloody good. Let's just go sort of smallest to highest. Nah, not great. They're not great. Let's just change this coefficient here. Just go a little bit higher. $70 to $75. Looking at goals now, yeah. So we've got 12 which are under 2.5, and then you've got over 3. Now, what about the coefficient on the actual home away? Oh, it's actually quite strong there. So if I was to do up to 21, just saying, just to see, just to narrow it down a little bit, might be a bit shit, but let's just have a look. So and you'll get the overs there. Half-time result, home, 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 away, home, any away on that one there, the outlier. Schalke, which was in, yeah, the outlier. Now check the outlier out. Actually, it's important to note this, yeah, those of you that are still here, and obviously you'll see it. 2009. Okay, so let me just get the dates, oldest to newest. Last, the ones that are more current, you'd be looking at over 2.5, home, home. Okay, and over 2.5, coefficient 19 to 21. Okay, so that's not a, you can see that's not really random. It's quite close together. And there's no nil. Okay, so that's pretty much how you do it. Now, is there anything you want to ask me now? And the other thing I'd like to say is I'm going to keep this channel open. Okay, and if you want to discuss this between yourselves or post anything that you found, and share it with someone else or whatever and help each other, why not? This isn't like some bullshit system and protecting your edge and all that bollocks. There's so much money in the market, you're not going to lose your edge. If I thought that I would be losing anything by disclosing this information to you, then I wouldn't be showing you. The market, there's a load of money in there, and they'll carry on being a load of money in there. And most people that will do this, they might do it. Some of them might stop. They might get bored. They can't be bothered to put the effort in. Those that do, then they'll probably be profitable for quite a while, I think. Anyway, if you're quite strict with your angles and disciplined with your staking, I think you can do pretty well like this. And one other thing I'd like to say is there hasn't been one bit of form in sight. Hasn't been one bit of form in sight to talk about. So no home draw away, no XG, no corners, bullshit, nothing like that. You don't have to worry. You don't even have to watch the game. You can just set and forget it if you want. If you happen to be trading it, then obviously you'll be looking at angles on the half time, and maybe, or you can set parameters on BetAngel. If it's a draw, you know, you can do that. Can I answer the question above, please? Oh, right. Which fall into the bucket. You'd have to subscribe to Football Bet Data. You'd have to, because that's what I'm using to get the odds. And obviously there has to be a continuity of those odds, and wherever they collect those odds of and odds from and how they record them, that's how they, if you go into their website and you look at today's data, today's download for their matches that they've got on, they're going to have all of those odds, because those odds that they put in there tomorrow, the odds that you'll see in that file, they'll be the same odds that you're looking at here for the average odds that you know, see, like these ones here, obviously, and all of these odds, they're the ones that you'll get on the daily data download, and that's how you will qualify. Or you have to, like I say, you have to manually do it, and that'll be a bore fest. All right, I've done it before. I've done it before where you just watch the game, you quickly have a look. The game started, you have a look at the odds, you see if it meets the cluster. If it, oh, 1 minute, I remember that 1.6 France. Yeah, okay. Let me just check the coefficient quickly. I look on Bet365 the odds, or I look on odds portal the odds. Maybe look at the average, do the coefficient. Right, so the coefficient I know is 0.3, home 1.6 or whatever. That, or just the fact that the coefficient alone gives a lay the home, for example, or it's a half time lay the draw, etc., etc. Okay. Anyone else got anything else to ask? Yeah, thank you, Gareth. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm hoping that you've learned something new, and that it's something that you can use. Like I say, you don't need to be an Excel king or anything like that. It's just a simple formula to type in, and it'll bring it all up. And if you start collecting the data sheets, and each time you start adding and inserting the column in the same place, you can just then copy and paste it onto your database. So you'll create your own database as you're going along, and you can grow it like that and compare your Betfair prices as well. Appreciate if you let me know what you think of this, and if you found it useful, I don't know, good or bad, anything like that. Much appreciated. If no one's got anything else to say, then obviously you can ask questions on this channel. As I said before, I will send a copy of the Zoom video to everyone. I'll post it on here first, and then I'll send it to everyone that's on here. Excuse me. Thank you, Gary. Thank you to, let me just say quick. Thank you, Frank, Gareth, Gary, Gster, H, JR, Moz, Peter, Sammy, Simon, Steve, Stephen, Suv, Kerr, and Tatanka for staying till the end. It's much appreciated. It's a bit shit when you talk to yourself. All right. So last 10 seconds. Anyone want to say something? I'm gone. Okay. Right. No worries. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you. Right. See you later, guys.